Cool, thanks, Brenton. Hey, Gemma. Obviously, the club announced today that Grace is heading home. Can you just kind of tell us what's kind of led to that decision?
It's not like it's taken time. Like she gave it a shot by like having a game off and stuff and taking some time out, and seeing if that like helped things. And it did for a bit, but yeah, she's just at a space where things kind of like football isn't the priority at the moment and needs to kind of go home and be with family and just prioritize like her feeling better and in a better headspace. It's not been easy, and we've had lots of conversations about it, and she's spoken to other people about it as well. But yeah, we just feel like we're at a point where it outweighs any sort of football or anything like that. We're gutted to for her to be going home and things like that. But we all know that right now, with where she's at and her headspace, it's the best thing to do.
Yeah, because it must be a pretty courageous decision for a young player to make. I mean, she had spoken about, growing up supporting the Phoenix, and it'd been a dream for her to represent the team. So it's a pretty big decision to I guess miss the last couple of games.
It's a huge decision. We felt like, and she felt like, more time here was not gonna help. And it's not, as much as we're trying to support as much as we can, it's like it's going to prolong her getting better, whereas she's ready to kind of go home and get better and then start to be in a better headspace. And putting that off for another couple of weeks just makes it harder. It's a huge decision for a 19-year-old to make. But it's definitely the right one for her as a person, and even her kind of footballing career as well. She's been so pinnacle for this team, but at the same time, we've probably scratched the surface with what she can do, because she's obviously got this going on in the background that she's been struggling with this season as well.
Yeah, when we spoke to you a few weeks ago around the Melbourne victory game where she made herself unavailable, you kind of mentioned it's something she'd been struggling with for a while now. But are there things that have happened throughout the season? Like, obviously it must be tough being away from friends and family. Like, are there things that have happened throughout the season that have kind of amplified that, do you think?
Tough one. Like, the whole situation's hard, right? Like, your first experience as a professional footballer, there's more pressure, there's more limelight. You're away from home, you're COVID going on all around you, like tough environment, like things have kind of been flipped upside down. Your life's been completely kind of turned upside down, and routine and progress and things like that for when you're struggling and when you're in those spaces are really important. Whereas she's kind of been massively pushed out of her comfort zone, and has been doing really, really well. Like, we knew coming into this, that she might not be 100%, but we all made the decision together that it was something that she still wanted to do, and we don't regret it. She's done so well, and I don't think she would ever regret it either. She talks about how this is something she needed to go through to get to the point that she's at now, and to like get help and get better.
Yeah, and what kind of support will she get now?
She's obviously going back home to family is super important. Like, being at home and having her family around her will be huge. But then she'll also have professional support, to be able to kind of work through things regularly and start to kind of make some progress and get herself in a better headspace.
Cool. I've got a few more, but I'll let the others have a go. Thanks.
Hi, Gemma. Just in terms of the game against Western Sydney, is this kind of one that you are really targeting to get a win, in terms of Sydney being quite low on the table, struggling a little bit, that you can really get on top of them?
Yeah, I think like we'd love to be honest. Like it's still going to be a hard matchup. They just had a pretty decent result in their most recent game. Yeah, they've had kind of an up and down season, and we've probably been similar, to be honest. So it's going to be a good matchup, but I definitely think what we want to show is kind of from game one to now that we've come really far, and I think being able to like show what sort of a performance we can put against Western Sydney, hopefully would show that. But at the same time, we know they've improved as well. But we feel like we've done a lot of work. We feel like the girls have started to really kind of put things together and start to put their performances together and be a little bit more clinical. And yeah, I want to be able to display that with like a really good performance against Western Sydney. But yeah, again, it's definitely kind of dependent on mentalities and how the game plays out and things like that. And this has been a tough week for the whole team. So it's kind of refocusing and kind of looking at the game and seeing that this is actually a really big opportunity for us. So yeah, definitely something we're going to be targeting to try and get a result out of. And I think on our good day that we could do that. We just need to make sure like we are disciplined against them, because they're a type of team that can really frustrate you. And in games where we've come up against teams like that and we've got impatient, we've made mistakes. So again, like against Western Sydney, that's something that could happen, but we're trying to really preempt that to settle the nerves, like be calm under pressure, and not get impatient in possession.
Yeah, and just one in terms of Grace, how has it kind of affected the rest of the players, the team? How are they kind of feeling?
Yeah, it's been tough, like, to be honest, like, because they've gone through it with her, and I think here we're all in one environment. They all live together pretty much, so they've all been through it together. So as much as like we talk to Wiz a lot and speak to her a lot, and she comes down and kind of chats and confides in us and talks things through, she also kind of talks to people in the team and things like that. So everyone's kind of been a little bit on this journey with her. So it's hard, like it's tough, but I think as well, like it's kind of that professional mentality to know that there's still a job to do, and we know, I think the biggest thing is like this is what's best for her. So us knowing that she's gonna go home, be with her family, get the help she needs, is also like a good thing as well for us to be like, okay, the right things are happening, like and she's getting the help that she needs. So so we can kind of, I guess, breathe a little bit and know that she's doing the right thing, and we don't have to like stress about it and worry about it, because she's made the right decision.
Cool, thanks, Gemma. Good luck on Sunday.
Cheers, man.
Hi, Gemma. Just one from me. Obviously, mental health is something that's become a very public conversation in recent times. Do you think, in a way, Grace is kind of a role model in a lot of respects for having the courage to say, yeah, I don't think I can do this, and having the courage to go home, whereas previous generations, you would have been scorned at, really, and may not have had the courage to do that?
Yeah, and like, I'm not gonna lie either, like she's been scared about it. It's not been something that's been easy. For every person that supports you, there's going to be some idiot out there that's going to say something stupid. So it's not like, she's a 19-year-old girl. It's really hard to make that decision to do that. But one of like, just to show like how much of an amazing person she is, like one of her main things is like when she's been going through all this is like she's looked kind of further ahead and been like, if I can help somebody else that like feels this way, or if I can help somebody younger or somebody that's going through this by them seeing what's happened to me, then it's worth doing. Which is like, yeah, I don't know that I would have that as a 19-year-old, to have that level of bravery and maturity. But she's, again, it's that selfless nature to be like, well, I'm struggling, and the people around her, she's read certain stories recently with things being more visible that have helped her to now be like, okay, well, I don't want to hide. I'm going to say what's really going on, because then maybe I can help somebody else.
Cool. Thank you, Jim.
Cheers.
It's back to you again, Phil.
Yeah. All good. Yeah, in terms of the goalkeeper situation for the weekend, when does Lily actually arrive back into the country, and is she, or is there a sufficient time that she'll be able to play?
She gets back in tomorrow morning. It's real dependent. Like we'll see when she gets back. You know, it's something like both Brie and Lily know, that it's a decision that we'll kind of make throughout the day tomorrow. But it kind of depends on like how she's travelled. You know, we've checked in with her around since she's been over there training and things like that. She hasn't played and stuff, so yeah, it's things that we'll assess as she gets back in. Like we're not taking it off the table, as long as she returns a negative RAT test when she gets back in, and if she's travelled well and is feeling well, then she'd be up for selection. But it's just something that we would talk to her about and kind of make a more informed decision on that.
Yeah, will she get a chance to train with the team, or will that she arrive kind of after training?
She would have arrived after training, yeah.
Okay. Does it make it easier that it's a goalkeeper rather than an outfield player when you're bringing a player in from overseas the day before a game?
Like it's really hard. I think it's really player dependent. Like I think so, because you know, she'll still get to go through the warm up. She'll still get to do a lot of handling. She's also come from a situation where she's been training the whole time. So really, she's only had kind of like 2 days, the day of the game and the day of traveling, that she hasn't trained. Other than that, she's kind of been training throughout anyway. So it's not like she's had 2 weeks away where she hasn't done anything. So yeah, I think it's just the timing of the game and whether or not it's going to work or not, depending on, again, like how she's traveled. That's the main one for me. Like, are you feeling sore from traveling? Like, are you lethargic? Do you feel like you know, you need to have a training session under your belt and be a bit fresher? Yeah, so we'll work through that with Lily, but we're confident in Brie as well, and if we feel like it's too yeah, Lily's not in the right headspace or it's too risky and she's too sore, then Brie will step up happily.
Yeah, and how's Kate Taylor? She obviously missed the last game with that back injury.
Yeah, it's been something that's still kind of ongoing. It's kind of, we know what it is now and everything, and it's nothing crazy. It's just because of where it is, like on her back, it's just discomfort and a little bit of pain. So we've just been working through like a plan. Like she really wants to play, knowing that it's not going to get any worse. There's nothing she can really do to it. It's just and it's kind of like an annoying, uncomfortable like pain, so to speak. So yeah, we're just working through a plan with the doctors and with the physio team to figure out if it's something that can be managed through pain management, and if it's going to get worse or better. So yeah, we haven't made the decision on it yet, but she really wants to play. So we're exploring options of how to do that in the best, safest way. Yeah,
and you mentioned too prior to the last game that, you know, Kelly had been available for selection. Is there anyone who's not available?
Annabelle isn't available still, and it's looking like she'll be unavailable for the rest of the season at the moment, which is unfortunate. We were hoping that through rehab and things, her knee was going to get a little bit better, but yeah, at the moment it's not kind of responding to the treatment that we thought it would. So it's looking like she's definitely unavailable for this game, and it's not looking like she'll be available through Perth either. So yeah, but that's the only one, and obviously Kate is Wiz is unavailable, and then Kate is somebody that we're still working through at the moment.
Yeah, so with Annabelle, because she had an ACL injury, is that right, that she was coming back from? Something that you've just had to manage throughout the season, is that correct?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like we knew that she's past the return to play. COVID hadn't helped things because she should have been back playing in the MPL, but obviously then that all got kind of stopped. So it's just kind of, she ended up doing more of her return to play through us in the preseason. But that just meant it was always going to be something we were managing. The knee itself, like this is a different injury. So it's not anything as bad as her ACL. However, it is now being looked into to see if she's not going to respond through rehab and rest in time, whether there does need to be surgical intervention. But that's obviously something that we were hoping to avoid and she was hoping to avoid. But we just have to, it's at the moment, it's too early to tell. It's not something that's really bad, but it's just something that needs to be reviewed by a doctor.
Yeah, just a final one. I believe you can overtake Wanderers if you beat them by 3 goals, so that's the target for the weekend. But are you still hopeful that you're in a position that you're going to be able to avoid the wood and the spoon?
Yeah, we want to. Like that's still something we want. On reflection, like we do, like we still need to, I think, because we have that goal, like, but we still need to kind of like stick to the game plan and trust like what we're doing in that space. Whereas I think my reflection from the Adelaide game is that I think when we scored that own goal, we then started to chase the game like too early, too much, and then left ourselves so exposed. Whereas we had like a whole 45 minutes of football. And that's my reflection as well from me. Like, we wanted to be aggressive, we wanted to win, we wanted to get the points. We felt like we were playing very well and controlling the game more than they were. And I think some of the stats showed that as well, as our highest amount of possession and our highest like passing completion rate as well. But yeah, I think because we were like, yes, we think we can get off the bottom of the table, we think we can get these points. I think we just let it slip a little bit and got a little bit too loose at the back and started to be a little bit too aggressive further forwards. And it meant that obviously then it gave them the ability to get that goal back on us pretty early in the second half, and then harder to come back from 3-1 down. So we definitely reflected, and as much as we want this game and we want to get off the bottom of the table, it's again trying to be like, trust the process, trust how we play, trust our game plan, and not get too drawn by the scoreline or the result, because when we do things that aren't necessarily to the game plan and to how we would normally play, that's when we start to get punished. So learnings for me, learnings for all of us, but something that we want to get off the bottom of the table, but we don't want that to dictate how we're going to play.
Cool, all good, all the best for Sunday.
Thank you.
No further questions, guys? No, thanks, Gemma. Much appreciated.